Kill what makes you weak. A powerful Stoic story about destroying your bad habits. There was once a young man named Elias. He wanted success more than anything else. He dreamed of becoming respected. He dreamed of becoming disciplined. He dreamed of becoming the kind of man people admired. But every morning, he woke with the same problem. He knew what he should do. Yet he never did it. He delayed important work. He stayed comfortable. He wasted hours chasing distractions. At night, regret became his closest companion. One evening, after another day filled with excuses, Elias walked alone through an old forest. The sun was setting. The air was cool. Everything around him was quiet except his own thoughts. As he walked, he reached an abandoned stone temple. Sitting on the temple steps was an elderly philosopher dressed in simple clothes. The old man looked peaceful. His eyes were calm. His posture was strong. Without speaking, Elias sat beside him. Several minutes passed. Finally, the philosopher asked, "What is your greatest enemy?" Elias immediately answered, "My circumstances." The old man smiled. "No. My lack of money." Again the old man shook his head. "My bad luck." The philosopher remained silent. Finally he said, "Your greatest enemy lives inside you." Elias looked confused. "What do you mean?" The old man pointed toward a cracked mirror resting against the temple wall. "Look." Elias walked over. He expected to see only his reflection. Instead, he imagined every weakness that had controlled his life. Laziness, fear, anger, jealousy, comfort, procrastination. Each one stared back at him. The old man stood beside him. "You cannot build a strong life while protecting weak habits. You must destroy what is destroying you." Those words echoed through Elias's mind. The next morning, before sunrise, he wrote 6 words in his notebook. "Kill what makes you weak." Those words became his daily promise. His first battle began immediately. His alarm rang at 5 a.m. The familiar voice returned. "Sleep another hour. You deserve the rest. Start tomorrow." For years he had obeyed that voice. Today he refused. He stood up. His body protested. His mind complained. But he moved anyway. That small decision became the first victory. Every morning brought another battle. Some mornings were cold. Some mornings were rainy. Some mornings he felt exhausted. But he remembered the philosopher's words. Weakness grows every time you feed it. Strength grows every time you challenge it. Weeks passed. His body became stronger. His discipline improved. But the greatest change happened inside his mind. He stopped negotiating with excuses. He stopped waiting to feel motivated. He simply acted. One afternoon, while training in a small gym, Elias noticed an old punching bag hanging in the corner. It was worn and damaged from years of use. The owner smiled and said, "Every punch made it stronger." Elias looked puzzled. The owner laughed. "No challenge means no strength." That lesson stayed with him. He realized that every difficult day was another punch shaping his character. Months later, life tested him. A close friend betrayed his trust. The anger inside him burned. He wanted revenge. He wanted to prove himself. Then he remembered his promise. "Kill what makes you weak." He asked himself, "What is the real weakness here?" It wasn't the betrayal. It was the anger controlling him. So instead of seeking revenge, he chose self-control. Instead of wasting energy on hatred, he invested that energy into growth. The anger slowly disappeared. And in its place came peace. Years passed. People began noticing the change. His confidence had grown. His words carried weight. His actions matched his promises. Many believed success had changed him. The truth was different. Discipline had changed him. One evening, a young man approached him. "What's your secret?" he asked. Elias smiled. "I stopped feeding my weaknesses." The young man frowned. "What does that mean?" Elias pointed toward a small fire burning nearby. If you keep adding wood, the fire grows. If you stop feeding it, it dies. The same is true of weakness. Feed laziness, and it grows. Feed excuses, and they grow. Feed fear, and it grows. But starve them long enough. They become powerless. The young man listened carefully. Those words would shape his future. Years later, Elias returned to the old stone temple. The philosopher was gone. The cracked mirror still rested against the wall. He looked into it once more. This time, he no longer saw a man ruled by comfort. He saw someone who had fought thousands of invisible battles. A man who had learned that true strength is built in silence. Not when people are watching, but when no one else is there. He finally understood the meaning of the lesson. You don't become strong by defeating other people. You become strong by defeating the habits that keep you weak. So if you want to change your life, begin today. Kill procrastination. Kill excuses. Kill self-doubt. Kill laziness. Kill the habit of waiting for the perfect moment. Replace them with discipline. Replace them with courage. Replace them with action. Replace them with consistency. Because every great life is built one decision at a time. Every strong mind is built one difficult choice at a time. And every extraordinary person reaches greatness by first destroying the habits that held them back. Remember this Stoic truth. The greatest battle is never against the world. It is against the weaker version of yourself. Win that battle every day. And no obstacle will be able to stop the person you are becoming. This story naturally continues into part 2, where Elias faces failure, temptation, loss, and his greatest internal battle, leading to an even deeper Stoic transformation. Kill what makes you weak, part 2. Imagine a blacksmith standing before a blazing furnace. Every strike of his hammer seems violent. Every spark that flies into the air looks like destruction. But he is not destroying the steel. He is shaping it. Your life works the same way. Every disappointment, every rejection, every lonely night, every painful lesson. They are not sent to break you. They are the hammer that creates a stronger version of you. The problem is that most people run from the fire. They avoid discomfort. They chase comfort because comfort feels safe. They stay in relationships that destroy their peace because leaving is uncomfortable. They remain lazy because discipline is painful. They continue wasting hours on distractions because facing reality is harder. But every time you choose comfort over growth, you feed the weakness inside you. The ancient Stoics believed that suffering is not your enemy. It is your teacher. There was once a young warrior who dreamed of becoming the greatest fighter in his kingdom. Every morning he trained harder than everyone else. Yet after every battle he lost. One day he climbed a mountain to seek advice from an old master. "I've trained for years," the young warrior said. "Why do I still fail?" The old man smiled and handed him a wooden bucket filled with water. "Carry this bucket to the top of the mountain." The young warrior laughed. "This is easy." He grabbed the bucket and began climbing. As he climbed, the path became narrow. The wind grew stronger. Rocks made every step difficult. Water slowly spilled from the bucket. By the time he reached the summit, almost nothing remained. The old master asked him, "What defeated you?" "The mountain." "No," the master replied. "It was your impatience. You rushed. You ignored your footing. You fought the mountain instead of understanding it." The young warrior finally understood. His greatest enemy had never been his opponents. It was himself. Most people believe their weakness comes from outside. They blame poverty. They blame bad luck. They blame other people. But weakness begins inside. It begins when you stop keeping promises to yourself. When you say you'll wake up early but hit the snooze button. When you promise to exercise but make excuses. When you know what is right but choose what is easy. Every broken promise weakens your confidence. Every excuse trains your mind to quit. Soon your own brain stops believing your words. That is why discipline matters. Discipline is not punishment. It is self-respect in action. The strongest people aren't those who never feel fear. They simply refuse to let fear make their decisions. Think of a lion. It doesn't waste time proving it is powerful. It simply walks with confidence. Your strength should be the same. Quiet. Steady. Unshakable. The Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius once reminded himself that every morning he would meet difficult people, selfish people, and dishonest people. Yet he never allowed them to control his emotions. Why? Because he understood a powerful truth. You cannot control others. You can only control yourself. This is where real power begins. Every day gives you two choices. Feed your weakness, or feed your strength. Every workout feeds strength. Every book feeds wisdom. Every honest conversation feeds courage. Every difficult decision feeds character. Small actions repeated daily become unstoppable power. Don't wait for motivation. Motivation is like the weather. Some days it comes. Some days it disappears. Discipline stays. Imagine two men planting seeds. The first plants every single day, even when the sky is gray. The second plants only when he feels inspired. Months later, the first man walks through a forest. The second wonders why nothing has grown. Life rewards consistency, not excuses. Today, ask yourself one difficult question. What part of me must die so my future can live? Maybe it's laziness. Maybe it's anger. Maybe it's fear. Maybe it's addiction to comfort. Maybe it's the need for everyone's approval. Whatever it is, kill it. Not with hatred, but with discipline. Replace every bad habit with one good habit. Replace every complaint with gratitude. Replace every excuse with action. You don't become stronger overnight. You become stronger one decision at a time. Remember this. A weak person waits for the perfect moment. A strong person creates it. The battle is not outside your door. The battle is inside your mind. Win that battle, and the world becomes much easier to conquer. This is only part 2. The next lesson is even more important because it reveals the silent habits that secretly steal your strength every single day, and how to destroy them before they destroy your future. If you'd like, I can also write part 3 as a much longer script, around 5,000 words, in the same cinematic storytelling style. Kill What Makes You Weak, Part 3, Final Chapter. The old man looked into Ethan's eyes for a long moment before speaking. You have become stronger, he said quietly. But strength is not the end of the journey. It is only the beginning. Ethan frowned. I thought defeating fear, laziness, anger, and doubt was the goal. The old man smiled. No. They will return. Weakness never dies forever. It waits for the moment you stop paying attention. Those words stayed with Ethan as he walked home. For weeks he had lived with discipline. He woke before sunrise. He exercised every morning. He read books instead of wasting hours scrolling through distractions. He controlled his emotions instead of letting them control him. Life was changing. His body felt stronger. His mind became calmer. People started respecting him. But something strange happened. He became proud. He began believing that he was different from everyone else. One morning he skipped his routine. It doesn't matter, he thought. One day won't change anything. The next day he skipped again. Then he stayed in bed longer. He stopped reading. He returned to wasting time. Without realizing it, the old version of himself slowly returned. One evening he stood in front of the mirror. The confident look in his eyes had disappeared. His energy was gone. His discipline had faded. He whispered to himself, How did this happen? The next morning he returned to the mountain. The old man was waiting. I knew you would come. Ethan lowered his head. I failed. The old man shook his head. No. You simply forgot. Forgot what? That discipline is not something you achieve once. It is something you practice every day. The old man picked up a sharp sword lying on the ground. He handed it to Ethan. What happens if this sword is never sharpened again? It becomes dull. And what happens to the strongest mind that stops practicing discipline? It becomes weak. The old man nodded. Exactly. That day they walked through a dense forest. The path became difficult. Large rocks blocked the way. Thorns scratched their clothes. Dark clouds covered the sky. After several hours, Ethan became frustrated. This path is impossible. The old man smiled. Life is not supposed to be easy. He pointed toward two trees. One had grown in perfect conditions. The other had survived strong winds, storms, and harsh seasons. Which tree looked stronger? The second one. Its roots reached deep into the earth. Its trunk was thick. Its branches stood firm against the wind. The strongest people are not those with easy lives, the old man said. They are those who keep standing after every storm. Those words changed everything. From that day, Ethan stopped asking, "Why is life difficult?" Instead, he asked, "What is this difficulty trying to teach me?" Every obstacle became training. Every failure became a lesson. Every disappointment became another opportunity to grow. Months passed. His transformation became impossible to ignore. Friends who once laughed at him now asked for advice. Some wanted to know his secret. He smiled and answered, "I stopped feeding my weaknesses." One friend asked, "How?" Ethan replied, "Every day I make a choice. When laziness speaks, I move. When fear speaks, I act. When anger speaks, I breathe. When doubt speaks, I continue." The friend stood silently. He realized there was no magic formula, only daily decisions. Years later, Ethan himself became a teacher. Young people came from different places seeking answers. One young man asked, "Master, what is the greatest enemy?" Ethan smiled. "You." The student looked confused. "I don't understand." Ethan pointed toward a quiet lake. "Look into the water." The young man saw his reflection. "What do you see?" "Myself." "Exactly. The person capable of destroying your future is the same person capable of creating it. No enemy is stronger than an undisciplined mind. No friend is greater than a disciplined one." The student listened carefully. Ethan continued, "People spend years trying to change the world. But the greatest victory is changing yourself." Another student asked, "When will the battle end?" Ethan laughed gently. "The day you stop breathing." The students became silent. He continued, "Every sunrise gives you another battle. You must choose whether your habits or your excuses will win. Whether courage or fear will lead. Whether discipline or comfort will decide your future." One evening, after teaching his students, Ethan climbed the same mountain where everything had started. The old man was no longer there. Only the old walking stick remained beside a stone. Ethan smiled. He understood. The teacher had completed his mission. Now it was Ethan's responsibility to continue the message. He picked up the walking stick. He looked toward the setting sun. He remembered the first lesson. Kill what makes you weak. Not your dreams. Not your emotions. Not your kindness. Kill the habits that destroy your future. Kill procrastination. Kill self-pity. Kill excuses. Kill uncontrolled anger. Kill envy. Kill greed. Kill fear of failure. Kill the voice that says, "You can't." Because every time you destroy one weakness, you give life to one's strength. The world often tells people to seek comfort. But comfort has never built greatness. Comfort creates average lives. Discipline creates extraordinary people. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is moving forward while fear walks beside you. Strength is not lifting the heaviest weight. Strength is carrying responsibility when no one is watching. Wisdom is not knowing every answer. Wisdom is controlling yourself when emotions try to control you. Remember this. Your greatest battle is never against other people. It is against the version of yourself that chooses comfort over growth. Every morning that person whispers, "Sleep longer. Quit. Wait until tomorrow. You are not good enough." Do not listen. Answer with action. Stand up. Move forward. Keep your promises. Honor your word. Become the person your future self will thank. Years later, when people ask why you succeeded, they may think you were lucky. They will not see the mornings you wanted to quit. They will not see the nights you kept working. They will not see the tears, the failures, the sacrifices, or the lonely moments. But you will know. You became stronger because you refused to feed your weaknesses. And that is the secret. Not perfection. Not talent. Not luck. Daily discipline. Daily courage. Daily action. So today, make one decision. Remove one habit that weakens your mind. Replace it with one habit that makes you stronger. Do it again tomorrow. Then the next day. One day becomes 1 week. 1 week becomes 1 month. 1 month becomes 1 year. 1 year becomes a completely different life. Remember these final words. Your future is built by what you repeat every day. Choose discipline over comfort. Choose courage over fear. Choose action over excuses. Choose growth over weakness. And never forget, the strongest person is not the one who defeats others. The strongest person is the one who defeats the weakness within. That is how legends are made. That is how character is forged. That is how ordinary people become extraordinary. Kill what makes you weak, and let what makes you strong live forever. The end. This ending is designed to conclude the series with a strong motivational message while reinforcing the core Stoic theme of discipline, self-mastery, and continuous growth.